Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to A Girl in Love with Tech podcast. My name is Rachel Rabo, and this podcast is streamed live on my LinkedIn channel and also on YouTube. And you can get the recording of this podcast obviously on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and you can also get it on Spotify. And I think there are other places, but I don't remember right now. But we are continuing the AI series, the ethical AI series. And our special guest for today, drum roll, is Kishana. And we are going to be talking about inclusive AI. Hi, if you could introduce yourself.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. My
Yeah.
name's Kishana Peck. I'm the founder and CEO of Woven. I started Woven in 2018. It was formerly WomenX and Data Science, and I was the only data analyst in a department. So I was always looking for different ways to learn, different ways to grow, events to go to. And I found one for women in data, but there was nothing in Canada where I live. So I thought someone should do it. So I actually planned my first conference in 6 weeks. I was able to find sponsors, find speakers. I had over 100 attendees. Um,
That's awesome.
Thank you. And I had
Awesome.
it as a side hustle for about 3 years. So I had it while I was going through my career. So I was a data analyst, and then I started leading data teams. But the last role that I had, I actually left because of discrimination. So this is the work that I do full
Yeah.
time.
Okay.
So at
Yeah.
Woven, we have like a job board, we have conferences, we have events, we have a membership. So yeah, it's definitely grown a lot since
Yeah.
I
Yes.
started. I also recently got my master's of management in AI as well.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It doesn't feel real for some reason. I'm still not. I
That's a
still
great
have
achievement. Yeah.
PTSD from going back to school, especially when
Yeah.
you're older. It just feels like it's a lot.
Yes.
So, yeah, my favorite class was always AI ethics. And I also do keynote speaking on AI ethics as well. So, I'm really excited for this conversation.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's so nice connecting with you on trends. I just talked about, hey, anyone want to speak about ethical AI? And yeah. Yes. Yeah, thank you. Okay. So our topic for today, we are going to be talking about inclusive AI. And it's so important right now. Like everything is happening so fast in AI, and nobody is thinking so much about, okay, is this AI inclusive? Or even the companies, when they are creating their AI chat services, because that is what we have everywhere right now, when they are creating their chat services, they don't think about, should we think about inclusive AI? I don't think they are thinking about that because I'm not really saying that. What do you think?
Mhm. So it's actually something that needs to be embedded in
Yeah.
the process of designing products and services. So it would have to be something that you're thinking about from ideation all the way to post
Yes.
deployment. And
Yeah.
because there's the sentiment of there's like an AI race going on right now. And
Yeah. True.
yeah, I feel
Yeah.
like we actually reverted back to times where it was like move fast and break things and
Yeah.
ask for apologies later. Um,
Yes.
which is not a good way to go about innovation, especially since
Yeah.
with
True.
AI, everything is at scale. So it's not that it's
Yeah.
just impacting a small group of users. Anything AI related is usually
Yeah.
at scale if it's not properly tested and deployed. So,
Yes.
for example, we already have inequities in regular life, and they're being
Yeah.
amplified now, especially if the companies aren't thinking about how to build inclusively.
Yeah.
So if we think about policing, for example, we already have issues of people over policing Black areas, for example.
Yeah.
So
True.
that gets amplified at scale if AI is used because the
Yeah.
data, like the Black population is overrepresented in that data. So of course, it's going to tell you to look in the areas where they are because they were being
Yes.
targeted before.
Yeah.
So that's one example, but it's something that companies should be thinking of, not only because you don't want to become a headline and you don't want to wait until you become a headline to have these
Yes.
conversations with your
True.
team, but
Yeah.
you should, as a company, you should have strong values that you are serving the people that are your customers, and it's rooted in like strong
Yes.
human values, like you care about the community that you serve. So I
Yeah.
feel like that's the disconnect now, especially with feeling like we need to race to innovation. It's forgetting
Yes.
about,
Everything's happening so fast.
yeah,
Like, yeah, yeah.
they're
And
definitely missing steps. And we've spent so much time trying to build in that, okay, like let's be reflective when we're building tech. And
yeah,
now I feel like everyone just said,
yeah.
we'll deal with it later.
Yes, and I think they have this feeling where they're like, okay, let's push this out now, and then the feedback from users, we're going to use that feedback to work on the tool. But there are a lot of things they need to figure out, like inclusion, make sure that it's ethical before pushing out your products, not waiting for, okay, maybe later when the product has been deployed, people are using it, then we can start making changes. Yeah.
But that's why you're supposed to go through rigorous testing. Like there's
Yes.
supposed to be user testing, and you're supposed to make sure that there's diverse people involved in the user testing.
Yeah,
You're supposed
that's very important. Yes.
you're
Yeah.
supposed to be able to have monitoring. So, like, if you had data governance frameworks, you should be able to monitor whether or not the application is having different outcomes for different users. Allow
Yeah.
that feedback loop for users to say, like, hey, like, this was a bad output for me. Like, there should be, like, those things should be things that are thought about in the beginning,
Yes.
not something patched at the end.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think there's a lot of opportunity for technical teams to work with like legal teams or governance teams or even the
Yeah.
business operation teams to make sure that those things actually happen.
Yeah.
Because it's not, I don't think it's impossible for there to be inclusive AI development. There's definitely challenges with it, but I think a more thoughtful approach would really help.
Yes, and I think there's something I love so much about what you just pointed out. Like a lot of people, apart from even on AI development, when it comes to building a product or building a tool, you have to think about so many things. And one of the things you need to think about when it comes to AI development, making sure it's ethical, making sure that every stage of the development, you get to check for those things,
Hmm.
which is very, very crucial. And I have a question to ask you.
Yep.
So when we talk about inclusion being and AI being inclusive, what does that mean? Like somebody might be listening now and be like, okay, what do you mean by that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what does that mean? Yeah.
So for me, it means that, like, especially since something that is such a large scale tool,
Yes.
that it's representative of the audiences and the communities that you
Mhm.
serve, um, and it's built on like product inclusion principles.
Yeah.
So, for example, there's been technology that was really helpful for the differently abled community, but have worked well for everyone. So, when you root your technology in those principles, so for example, captions
Yeah.
like that go
Yes.
on screens, like they were for people who couldn't hear as
Yeah.
well, right? But
Sure.
there's normal people who use captions. So that would be something that
Yes.
it's like,
Everybody uses it now.
yeah, that would be something of
Yeah.
like trying to increase like the accessibility that would be more inclusive. If there, if you Google like beautiful women, for example,
Yeah.
it might only pop up one type of women, which
Yeah.
is problematic. Know what I mean? So
Yes. Yeah.
what you would do, if you were building something that was based off of images, for example, is to increase the diversity of images that are available
Yeah.
across different people available for that image. Another, like, I feel like it's just you have to think broader. So especially if
Yeah.
the teams are mostly one type of person, they don't things like it, they're too
Yeah.
proximate to it that they're not going to notice that it's not inclusive. Like even if they do all the training and all the diversity and training, all the inclusion
Yes.
training, they still might not notice things that to like you and me, for example, we'd be able to spot really quickly. And
Yeah.
that's why I think that there should be more diverse people in AI. So
Yes.
I don't think it's going to be a fix where it's like, okay, like here are these guidelines of what to do. I think it's great to have guidelines for when you're building, but I think
Yeah.
also like the core change needs to be at the people building the tools. And right now, it's kind of like the power is held with a few different companies.
Yes.
Like you have
Yeah.
to work with them.
Yeah.
And if they're not building inclusively, and if they have pressures from different governments to not build inclusively, or they
Yeah.
have no incentive to build inclusively, then we have issues, especially
Yes,
since policy is
definitely.
lagging. So
Definitely.
my
Yeah.
view of what inclusive AI would be is like AI that mitigates harms, that reduces the amount of harms,
Yes.
includes diverse people in the process of building the tool.
Yeah.
During
Yes.
ideation, thought of like, who am I not thinking about that may be harmed by this
Yes.
tool? And
Yeah.
how am I, like, is there anything in my data, for example, that I'm using that might embed biases as I go through? And is there anything I can do to like remove those? I think it's very hard to have like a completely bias-free system, but
Yeah.
as a builder, as a company, you should be thinking of how you reduce those harms.
Yeah, and there's something that you pointed out that I love so much, and I think I have never thought of it before, and that is having diverse people in your team.
Hmm.
Like having a test period in each stage of the development, having a test period where people from different diversity they get to check the tool, because something that a this particular person, something that group A would see,
Hmm.
group B might not see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's very, very important. And a lot of companies need to, like, they have been in this system for a while. These are things that they need to think about. It's not
Mhm.
just pushing your tool out there. I know the government, like, especially for EU, they have a lot of rules all the time concerning AI, also the UK,
Mhm.
but they really, really need to do something about ethical AI. And at the beginning of AI, like, AI has been there for a very long time, but
Mhm.
at the beginning of it being all over the place. People are using it. There were a lot of rules that was broken more than it is right now. It was horrible.
Mhm.
It was horrible. I was seeing a lot of things online where people were talking about, like you might ask as a black person, you ask AI a question, and it will just use bias to say that okay, because you are from this particular environment or because you have this particular background, you are not
Mhm.
maybe you're not good enough or stuff like that. It was really really
Yeah.
horrible.
There was
Yeah,
something recently in the news that for women, when they ask about like what range they should be asking for roles, they're
yeah,
giving us less ranges, less salary ranges,
yeah.
telling us to ask for less. Do you know what I
I
mean?
get serious. That is a really bad
Yeah.
advice and horrible.
But it's
Yeah,
just it's embedded in the systems, and like a lot of hiring systems also use AI. So in Canada
yeah.
next year, they have to actually disclose whether or not they use AI in their their hiring pipeline,
Okay. Yes.
because there's no like, if do you know Maslow's hierarchy of needs? It's like
No,
a
I
pyramid,
don't
and at the
know.
bottom it has like physiological needs, safety
Okay.
needs, and then it goes
Yeah.
up. So basically it's like a hierarchy of needs that humans need. So when
Yeah.
you think of the harms that AI causes, like when it's at the base, which is like physiological needs like housing, safety, employment, things like that,
Yes. Yeah.
you are developing any type of technology that impacts those basic needs at the bottom, you really
Yeah.
need to think very, very thoroughly about how your tool impacts. Because something for AI in HR, for example, sounds like, yeah, it'd be able to help with the volume of applications and it can skim
Yeah.
through, but what biases are embedded in there?
Yes.
What
Yeah.
biases are embedded in there? You are stopping people from being able to take care of themselves and their family, which
Yeah.
impacts like whether or not they can keep their homes, for example, whether or not they can feed their families, like
Yeah.
things like that. There's some industries that are really regulated, like finance, for example, where they are so overly regulated so that it helps them have to innovate in that type of environment.
Yeah.
So the likelihood of negative impacts are less, but
Okay.
AI regulation is definitely lagging. So there's
Yeah.
a lot of issues there. So I find that the more the more of a basic need it is for people,
Yeah.
the less AI should be used, or the more oversight there needs to be.
Yeah. And I think one thing you also pointed out too here is that you talked about being inclusive. It's a basic human need. Like it's something that needs to be there. It's not an option that you think, like, when you are filling a form
Mhm.
and you get some questions where they say optional.
Yeah.
And AI being inclusive, it's not optional. It's something that you really, really need to implement. It's a basic human need and part of basic human values.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think because it's basically anything. it's biases being
Yeah.
perpetuated at scale. Like it's not like small anymore. Like
Yes.
it's large. So if
Yeah.
it's at scale, then you need to think of more people,
Yeah.
even outside of what your company would normally impact.
Yeah. Sure. And I'm going to use that to go to the next question. So
Hmm.
the next question is that, like, when an AI, like, right now we are all conversant with AI chat services.
Hmm.
So when an AI chat services is not inclusive, like, what are the consequences to the users?
Well, there's a variety of consequences. So, for example,
Yeah.
I told you about the women that are
Yeah.
asking for salary advice, and it's
Yeah.
giving them less salary ranges than it would if a man was speaking to them. So it has
Yes.
that impact of like impacting your salary ranges. I know a lot of people are using AI for therapy right now. So
Yes, and that is really bad. I've seen a lot of things about it online. That is so, so bad. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So some people, it's easier for them to talk to AI than to talk to a
Yeah,
therapist.
true.
Like,
Yeah, true.
I go to therapy, so I know you have to, like, build up that rapport. It took, like, a year and a half for my therapist to finally, like, break through for me, and, like, after me hiding for so long, so I
Yeah.
know for some people it might be easier for them to access, especially, like, the price of therapy, the
Yeah,
layoff.
it's expensive. Yeah, I do understand, but due to the way AI is right now, it's not really, really advisable. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not advisable, and I feel like some things you just shouldn't be using AI for. Or
Yeah.
like it goes down to like as a society, we need to ensure that that is more accessible. Like
Yes.
we should be making sure that therapy is more accessible if we're seeing that
Yeah.
more people are turning to AI for it.
Yeah.
Or
True.
like there should be, or it would have to go through like rigorous testing, but even then it can be
Yeah.
wrong.
Even then. Yeah. Yeah. Even then. Yeah. True.
Even then it can
Because,
be wrong. So
yeah, I don't know if I'm correct about this, but I think with having AI as your personal therapist, and there's one thing I have noticed about AI is that it does not tell you, like, when you talk to AI and you ask them and you ask AI, like, I want to do this, is this right or wrong? Whether it's right, whether it's wrong, AI will say, go for it. So
yeah.
that's one thing. Yeah.
So it's a bit of a people pleaser. So you can do
Yeah.
some things to try to like ask it to be devil's advocate or see it from a different point of view. But in
Yeah.
general, it's trying to please you.
Yeah, it's never going to tell you that, hey, you're wrong, stop. It's going to say, oh, that is very good. You're so smart. You're so this, you're
Exactly.
so that. Go for it. Do this. It's,
Yeah,
yeah,
there's people using AI even for like general interactions with like friends, family, partners,
yeah,
saying like, "Hey, I'm in this situation. What should I do?" You know what I
yes.
mean?
Yeah, I guess
So
like an advice. Yeah,
yeah, and I think that speaks more to the fact that the social fabric isn't as tight as it needs to be because we should have strong social connections so that we
yes,
don't need to turn to a tool for that type
yes,
of advice. But I
yeah,
think since the pandemic, it's definitely been weaker. People are more isolated. So having
yeah,
a tool that you can talk to,
yeah. It makes it easier. Yeah,
yeah, it makes it easier. People feel
yeah,
more seen, but like the general population doesn't understand like the background mechanics of the tools
yeah,
because it sounds so human like. They're like, okay, well, this
yeah,
must be right.
yeah. And I think there's something too. Apart from talking about being inclusive, there's one thing: companies need to be transparent.
Hmm.
Like, we should know what is happening,
Yeah.
especially our data. All the conversations that we are having with these AI chat services are kind of being used to train their AI.
Yeah.
So they should tell us, okay, hey, this is what is happening, or this is how you can do it that would not use your data, like maybe a toggle button that you get to switch off or something. They don't tell you anything. They might have it there, but it's on default. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Sometimes it's not as explicit and
yes,
it's buried within terms and conditions, which
yes.
most people
A lot of
don't
don't read. Yeah, even me, I don't read.
read.
It's too much.
However, might be a good use case for AI for you to
Yeah,
finally copy and paste the T's and C's and be like, what should I be aware of? Do you know what I
yeah,
mean?
sure. Yeah,
Or if there was a way for like that to be a default of them saying like what you should be aware of. I know usually with most paid plans, they don't use your data for training, but
okay.
it matters sometimes on the level of the tier and the company as well. But
Yeah,
I think most companies are banking on you not reading the T&Cs, or
Yes.
they make the T&Cs so difficult to read that you don't read them, or we are just so
Yeah.
conditioned to just checking the box and moving on.
Yeah. Or the document is so much that you're like, okay, this is too much. I'm going to drop this and just say, I agree.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
like that's not like there are some tools where like they can take like your likeness.
Yeah.
They can take
Yes.
your likeness, they can take your voice.
Yeah.
With
Yes, that's true. Now your voice. That is, yeah,
monetary.
that is really, really scary. Like imagine getting an AI, like a bot, maybe a robot or something, or AI chat services. It's replying you back and it's a voice. That would be so scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like it's twofold, right? So there's like the terms and conditions, there's the values of the company. So the values like,
Yeah.
well, we don't want to do that, then they're not going to do that. The regulation, like if there's any regulation around that. So there's a
Yeah.
lot of different things in play because a lot of countries don't have formal AI guidelines
Yeah.
that are broad enough
Yeah.
to cover
Yeah.
the rights of consumers, then that becomes the issue. Like in the
Yeah.
States, there was one case where it said that copying books wasn't wrong if you buy
Okay.
the books. So like a lot of large language models are trained on a lot of books.
Yes.
So they're
Yeah.
saying like doing that is fine, but
Okay.
not buying them is not fine. So if you pirated the books and trained your model
Yeah.
on books, that's a problem, but just training them all on the books is not a problem. Then if you
Okay.
look at it on the other side as a writer, what's
Yes.
my incentive to write if my writing
Yeah,
yeah,
that's really, really
and then
bad. Yeah.
also more people are going to be writing books with
Yeah.
AI.
Yes.
Then it's
Yeah.
like we're losing like we're like I don't know how else to say this, but it's like we're almost like losing recipes
Yes. And
if
I
we're
think,
defaulting to using AI than to use like our
yeah.
own artistic creative selves.
Yes, and I think one scary part about AI right now, I've seen like content vlogging on
Mhm.
TikTok where it's like you'll be watching a person's life, you think it's just you not know at first that's AI. You really have to look to know that it's AI. It's be showing you that day to day, what they do, how they are coming out from their houses, and
Mhm.
it's AI.
Yeah.
It's scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there is no indication, no write up in the description that hey, this is AI. Nothing. Just
Because it's optional to it's optional
yeah,
to tag it as AI generated, right? I think systems need to get better, especially the social media
yeah,
systems. They need to get better at being able to flag AI content so
yeah,
that the
yeah,
audience knows, especially for the older generation. So
yeah,
my parents are like around their 60s, and
yeah.
I have my dad sending me things. I have to tell him that's not real. That's
Yeah,
AI.
my mom too. Yeah, true.
Yeah,
Yes.
so it's like the older generation, they're gonna be thinking like, "Whoa, like this is real." And sometimes
Yeah,
it's like related to politics or things like that. So it's forming their
yeah,
opinions of things that aren't actually happening. And then for
yes.
the younger generation, I would even argue for us, it's creating unrealistic beauty standards.
Yeah, yeah, unrelated like expectations that are not
Yeah,
even real. Yeah, so
that aren't even real. Like
yeah,
Vogue had a few ads that were AI generated in
yeah.
their last issue. And it's like,
Wow.
why didn't you just
Why
hire
not let models
why didn't
hire
you just hire real
people?
you know what I mean? Like, why don't you just hire real
Yeah.
models? Like, there's
Why use
plenty.
AI? That's wrong.
Yeah, like
Because
I feel like image generation and video generation, I feel like are I don't like those uses of AI.
yes, I don't too.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't.
like I feel
Yeah,
like there's better uses for AI use cases, but I
yeah,
feel like when I'm even on threads, for example, like most of the conversation, if I go through someone's message that says like tell me about AI courses or tools, it all leads
yeah,
to like image generation or video generation.
yeah, yeah,
So then I feel like eventually it's going to become that people are saying I need to go outside to see real people.
Yes, true.
Tired of
Yeah,
seeing
true.
platforms that are so manicured. And I know
Yeah,
some people will say like, oh, there was always Photoshop, there was always filters, there were always things like that, but
yeah,
there was
but
still
that is
a human
different.
behind it.
Yeah, that is different. I,
Yeah.
I, yeah, I do know. Like, okay, for Photoshop, you get to at least as a human being.
Hmm.
Okay, it's quite different from AI, and we're already used to that already. Not, we don't want AI like that. Yeah.
Hmm.
And I have a question to ask. I want to ask, like, we're talking about inclusion, like AI being inclusive. For someone who is listening to us, and how can they advocate that, hey, maybe in their company, maybe they are building an AI agent, an AI model, or just generally, like we're talking about it right now, generally, and they're looking at, okay, how can I've been seeing a lot of things that's happening in the world right now, how AI is being like everything is so fast and they are doing a lot of things wrong. How can I advocate for ethical AI? How can I advocate for AI to be inclusive?
I think the first step is to build your knowledge in the area. So before AI became mainstream, there were
Yes.
already a lot of women that were sounding the alarm on AI. So
Yeah.
looking into their research and what they found, so like Joy Bulamwini, Timnit Gebru, there's like
Yeah.
plenty of books on the topic. So I would
Okay.
start there. So then you're knowledgeable about what you're talking about. And
Yeah.
then
True. How true.
you can also follow different AI researchers that they're at the intersection of AI and ethics as well. So you can better understand what the issues are. And I think the
Yeah.
next step after that, so after passively collecting information, is to actively experiment with what it would look like if you were
Yeah.
to do it more inclusively. So, what does ideation look like if we do it more
Yeah.
inclusively? What does
Yeah.
user research look like if we do it more inclusively? What does user testing look like if we do it more inclusively? What does
Okay.
a model deployment plan look like that would be more
Yeah.
inclusive? What does monitoring look like if it would be more inclusive? Like seeing what
Yeah.
it actually looks like in practice. I feel like a lot of
Yes.
people stop at the passive stage of like
Yeah.
reading the articles, knowing it's a problem, but not understanding how it would actually translate to in practice. So then when you
Okay.
go to your company now and you say, oh, we should make sure it's more inclusive,
Yes.
then they ask
And
you
they ask you
how,
how. Yeah. Yeah.
you have no
True.
answers.
Yes.
You have
They
no
ask you
answers.
how.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so for you to like have more leverage, it would be to understand like what are the issues for
Yeah.
different demographics, and then how would I change that in practice?
Yes.
Yeah. I feel like that's what you need to do because if you stop at the first part, it's very difficult for companies to take you seriously. I know as a data and AI leader, if someone came up to me and said, I'd be like, okay, what ideas do you have? And if you're stumped now, if you're stumped now, I'm gonna be like, oh, so you expect me to look it up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
So especially if you are not in a leadership position yet,
Yes, especially, yeah, when you're talking to stakeholders and you be like, hey, I think we should do this, we should do that, and you have nothing to give them to explain further or to give them the
yeah.
reason why, what's the goal of this, or yeah, like,
Mhm.
okay, you brought the idea,
Yeah.
we like it, so can you explain? Yeah,
And can
so
you explain like what are your suggestions? Like even
yes,
if you do have a company that, for example, the team that's building the solution is not diverse. Like let's say there's
yeah,
nobody on the team that's diverse, but in a different department there are people that are diverse. Even a
yeah,
suggestion like, hey, when we're doing the user testing, maybe we can bring in
bring
some
them in.
customers and some people from different teams to test it out.
Yeah,
Do you know
yeah,
what I mean? Because
yes,
even though they're on different teams and they may not be technical, they might be able to see things you're not seeing. And they
yeah,
have different
true.
angles. So I mentioned someone from like the customer success team. They talk to customers all the time.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
they would have insight there. So I really feel
yeah.
like the interdisciplinary setup, that's what will help you actually do it in practice.
Yeah, and I think from a perspective of a developer and a user, what they will see are quite different. When a
Hmm.
user is using a software or an application, or for instance, an AI chat service, the way they would use it, like the scenarios they are going to use that chat services for is going to be different from what a developer is checking.
Mhm.
So apart from even bringing diverse people, I think it's also important to bring users
Mhm.
to check it out. Like, hey, can you just use maybe a month to go through different scenarios and tell us any feedback you want to give us on of what is wrong or what is working well? Yeah,
Mhm. And
because
even
that they have different perspective.
yeah, and even from a product manager perspective, right?
Yeah,
Like that is your role. Your role is to build for users, so you should understand the users
yeah,
deeply, right?
yes,
And if you're
yeah,
building an AI tool, like one of the first questions should be like, do we even need AI for this?
yeah,
And like, what are the pros and cons of us doing this? What does the data look like? What is the data lineage? Like, where's the data
yeah,
coming from? Is it missing information for certain groups? I know personalization is one of the new things that is getting a lot of attention for corporate environments. But if you
yeah,
personalize, is there would your data accidentally exclude certain groups from certain
yes,
offers and things like that? Like those are things
yeah,
you need to think about.
yeah,
And as a product manager, there are things that you should think about before it even passes ideation.
yeah.
And I feel like because everyone is in a race, you're
Yeah, everybody's like, okay, we are going to be the first. We're going to be the first. We're going to be
yeah,
the first.
like slow down a
Yeah,
little bit. Like the race is not for the swift, but who can endure it? So
yeah.
it's just taking a little bit more time.
Yes, yeah. And I think we have a comment. I'm just going to check that out. Yeah, okay. So somebody just said, love the vibes. Thank you. Yeah, so it's very, very nice. So before we end the podcast, do you have any advice for us? Is there anything you want to tell us about inclusion or ethical AI?
I would just reiterate to pair like passive learning with active
Yeah,
experimentation. You don't need to be an expert, but you can become an expert through
yes,
like acquiring knowledge and trying things out. It doesn't need to be perfect. And
yeah,
you could even start with some issues that you care about and dig more into that, even if you went to Google and you went to the news section
yeah,
and you
yes,
put in like, I don't know, like AI and women or AI and like insert whichever community that you want to put in,
yes,
you'll be
yeah,
able to find headlines about what's going on and what's
yeah,
happened in the past. And also remembering that if certain things were not equalized before AI, it's
yeah.
probably just amplified now.
Okay. That's really, really good advice. Thank you so much. Yeah,
No.
and if you're listening, that was a nice advice. So try to implement that and build your knowledge on AI. It's very important. We do like a lot of like when AI became so everybody AI everywhere, people were like, okay, AI is going to take my job, AI is going to take my job, AI is going to take my job. But you now implementing it, trying to understand how you can what is AI, what is how can AI be ethical, or in what ways can you also implement AI in your day-to-day job? Because everybody's kind of using it right now. So
Mhm.
yeah. So thank you so much. And thank you very much everyone for joining us. See you in the next podcast. Bye.
Bye.